everyone. So I'm Brian Domingues, working as a contractor for EuropAssistance as a vulnerability manager. So today I will explain a little bit what we put in place for our vulnerability management program. Starting with the end, with all what we want about. It's all about KPIs, measures, numbers. As it was said this morning, it's drive our salaries, promotions. So let's see if this makes you stay awake on what we have been doing. So just to give a bit of context, who is EuropAssistance and how big or small is it compared to your company? EuropAssistance is an insurance. It's around 12,000 employees. It's a company that is growing fast. Sorry. Oh. Just went out. Okay. If I do like this, better? Sorry. Should I start again? Yes? Well, it will start. So around 12,000 employees, like I said, 36 entities across the world, well, all over the world. The particularity of EuropAssistance is that it's a group in a group. So it belongs to Generali, and for Generali, EuropAssistance is just an entity like another. And you'll see later that it makes it sometimes a bit difficult. It's around 2,500 machines, not counting endpoints, just about servers, and it's an hybrid environment. So we have on-premise, Azure, AWS, a bit of GCP, but well. Now that you have the company context, giving a bit of the vulnerability management context. Nothing really different. I guess a lot of your companies work the same way. We have an IT that is accountable for vulnerability remediation. We have an IT infrastructure that is completely outsourced, that is responsible for the remediation of the vulnerability. And we, as VM team, we are consulted on some remediation, and we have to report to the group. So the group is always informed. This morning, we heard a lot about true risk, prioritizing vulnerabilities, that we can't remediate all CVSS, etc. This is exactly what we are not doing. We are working on CVSS because we are part of a group. Qualys is not being used at group level, so we need a common way. The group needs a common way to evaluate each entity, and unfortunately, it's still CVSS for us as of today. And we struggle because we have remediation timeline for everything that is high and critical in CVSS. Where we started, so 3 years ago when we deployed Qualys, we quickly understood that there was a poor understanding of vulnerability. What is a vulnerability? The trend was really not positive at all along months, and Azure Update Manager was the tool for patching. Stepping a bit ahead, and then I will come back, how we are using Qualys. So we are splitting in twice. Again, nothing revolutionary. I guess a lot of you are doing the same. External part and internal part. Today the presentation is more focused on internal, but just to give an overview. So for inventory, we use EASM and internal powerful tools to inventory, Excel, and we populate Qualys with all that. We do scanning with TAS or WAS. Thank you, Qualys, for changing names every year. It helps us as a security expert to increase the rate because we are now expert in TAS and WAS. And we scan all the external perimeter like that. And on the internal part, more or less the same thing. We use connectors. Well, connectors could be linked also to external, but just to make it easy. to have all the AWS and Azure resources, on-premise internal ranges, again, with our powerful tools, Excel. We deploy Cloud Agent everywhere, and we are scanning either when we can't deploy a Cloud Agent, either when there is a Cloud Agent for all the specific vulnerabilities that are not detected by the agent. And finally, we use Eliminate, Patch Management. Thanks again, Qualys, for making us expert of a lot of modules to patch the vulnerabilities. So now, coming back, our first step was to make IT people and security people speak the same language. So when we deploy Qualys and we send vulnerabilities out to the IT teams, it was a big struggle. It was always, I deploy all the patches, I don't understand why I still have a vulnerability. AUM says there is no patch to install, so what do you expect? So what we did, patch management. We suggested them strongly to poke the tool, test it, and fortunately they bought Qualys patch management, which make it much more easier, because as of today, there is one vulnerability, there is one action associated to it, and there is no more confusion on what I should do, why I'm not seeing it in my tool, etc. So, how the plan started? Our first step was to sort the vulnerabilities in 3 buckets. First bucket was all the Qualys patchable vulnerabilities. So, the ones that have the button patch directly and that we call one-click vulnerabilities. The second one was the vulnerabilities that have a patch available, but that you can't, deploy in one click. You need to upload the patch on a repo and say to Qualys, this is my repo, you can go and install the patches. And the third one was all the other vulnerabilities, so mostly configuration vulnerabilities. We find out that 57% of our vulnerabilities were directly patchable to Qualys. So what is the excuse now? It's theoretically one-click patch to deploy. Second step was to rationalize. So the company is growing fast and buying some smaller companies sometimes. So we have plenty of OS, plenty of distribution, plenty of softwares, and rationalize helped to reduce the numbers. And we did a big focus on EOL EOS, putting in place some processes to be ahead. So thanks to Season 2 for EOL EOS, we were able to reduce again vulnerability numbers. And finally, we work on exceptions. So on IT side, it's really easy, or it was. I have one component that I cannot patch. I put all the server in exception, and I don't do anything else on this machine. It's working, I don't want to touch it. So we start to review all the exceptions one by one, discuss with IT, understand what is the blocking point, what is the actual component that you cannot patch, and okay, for this component, all the rest has to be patched. OS patching has to be done, etc., which help also to reduce the figures. Now, one thing that my CIO told me once that I keep in mind was, you, tech guys, always think that the solution is from the tool, but it's from the human. And it's true, you can have the best dashboard, the most beautiful dashboard, the most beautiful and automated report. At the end is someone taking the action behind. And vulnerability management, unfortunately, is not always the priority of the business. We are talking with people doing business, developing applications that will help the company to make money, and we are asking sometimes to potentially break the application for security. So we need to discuss with those people, understand their priorities, understand the problems, why they cannot patch, and try to find a way so they actually remediate. So we put in place plenty of reporting, operational meetings. We engage also high-level people, groups ISO, C-levels, just to be sure vulnerability becomes a priority. Even if it's not directly related to business, it can be, and we need to focus on that. And unfortunately, most of the case, when it's the CISO asking something and not the vulnerability manager, it's being done very faster. I wanted to give some hands-on, really hands-on and specific use cases with difficulties that we faced, because I spent all my day on Qualys, and I'm sure there is some people that spend all of your days on Qualys too. That could be interesting. One part of my job in my mind is to be sure the vulnerability that I share with people is actually true vulnerability. So I try always to work as much as possible on false positive to ensure when I share a report, I don't have someone in front of me telling me, hey, you shared 1,000 lines, there is one that is wrong, so I can't work. I don't touch your report, there is one line that is wrong. And it's the game, I understand it. So I try as much as possible to give to people only right data, or at least I try to clean as much as possible. What we find out is that in many cases, appliances were detecting potential vulnerabilities on OpenSSH and Apache. And so basically, the appliance just read the server banner, why the header has the version of OpenSSH and Apache. That could be a discussion. In our case, we had the version. And it says, okay, there is a OpenSSH 8.7, the major version, potentially vulnerable. Looking at CSAM, so not even going to IT team, etc., from CSAM, we can have the exact package that is installed actually on the server, which the banner doesn't read. So from CSAM, I know exactly that it's 8.7 P143, the package that is installed. And from Red Hat website, because in that case the server is a Red Hat, I know which package is remediating the vulnerability, which means directly from my detection, I'm able with Qualys to say this is a false positive, and I don't need to send it to IT team to have someone double check on the server what is the package installed, to go to Red Hat website and to lose maybe 20 minutes to say it's a false positive. So this I can do it on my own, and we work on a script that get all those data that is populated with the vendor website, and Excel again, and we exclude through API all those false positives to be sure we don't share it with IT teams and we don't mess up with KPIs neither. It's just a very specific use case. I don't know if you face the same, if you are doing agent and appliance scanning. I thought it can help. If it's not, well, it just took 2 minutes. Second use case, a bit technical that we faced, again, with appliance and cloud agent scanning. If you are only doing agent, we don't have this issue. But I heard a lot of customers have a duplicate issue. We were going to network saying, there is some firewall rules missing. Network team was saying, no, rules are open. You should be able to contact. We shouldn't have duplicate. Engage Qualys support. There is an issue. And it lasts for months. Our Qualys team helped us on that. And a few months ago, there was a card that was available for a POC. I think it was 1 month. And we took advantage to launch a small script to CAR to open the port 10,001 to 5, just to be sure the appliance and the agent can match. And in few hours, thanks to CAR, we were able to merge the assets and have only one asset and avoid the duplicate. So again, it's one specific use case where Qualys helped us to have a bit cleaner data. Our next step will be to work on API security, thanks to TAS, the cloud posture with CSPM, so improve our Azure CES rules, etc., and policy compliance. Again, why did we start a vulnerability management program and we didn't start with policy compliance? We can debate. It's always about numbers. When we started, we wanted to reduce the numbers. We were able to reduce by 46% vulnerabilities in 18 months. We still have a lot to do. If you did the math between slide 2 and the one with the 3 steps, you saw it's not matching. So it's good. We still have work. I still have a job. And we still have a lot to do. It's the end of the presentation. I don't know if you have any question.